This past Wednesday, I presented my dissertation research. I had to give a rather lengthy talk, preparing for which took about 8 hours of making slides and, well, many years of writing. One would think, after that, preparing a 5-minute speech would be quite easy. Not so much. I started off by doing what any trained doctoral student would do. I asked, or begged, my fellow PhD students for help. Unfortunately, lacking any free food to offer in exchange, the only response I got was, well, I'll fly out to see it if you do a rendition of Rebecca Black's song Friday. Apparently, as my fellow speakers noted, requests for vocal performances are in vogue at commencement this year. Fortunately for the audience gathered here today, there are some things too scary even for Berkeley. In theory, I'm supposed to be representing the iSchool doctoral students. In practice, that's quite impossible. You just heard from 2 of my fellow graduates describing what our degrees mean. And they've done so far more eloquently and with much greater humor than I ever could. We truly are a variegated bunch. Yet we've all managed to find, or perhaps make, an academic home together. This I find quite amazing. When I first came to Berkeley, some unspecified number of years ago, I was a political science PhD student. And Berkeley's political science department, as I understand it, does some rather amazing work. But it wasn't the right fit for me. So as a quite scared 23-year-old, 2 months into his first year of graduate school, I went to my advisors and told them of my concerns. At some institutions, this might have been met with a, screw you, kid, and, make sure the door hits you on the way out. At Berkeley, the reply I got was, your interests seem more aligned with this other program. You should go talk to my friends Nancy and Anno over in South Hall. My then advisor was speaking, of course, of Professor Van House and Dean Saxenian. And so I ended up making my way to South Hall, where upon arriving and meeting my first fellow doctoral student, I found out he had ended up here under similar circumstances. Students come to the iSchool not just to get a degree in information management and systems, and I agree, Master of Information just sounds très cool, but because they have an interest in something they feel matters. And they want to study that interest so they can change the world. We're all very Berkeley that way. So going back to my former advisor again, when I told him I wanted to study the impact of law on cybersecurity, and he joked, you're going to have to find a way to do this without getting 3 PhDs. Unfortunately, for my hopes of graduating that decade, he was quite right. Fortunately for me, there was the iSchool. When I would tell my friends and family what department I was in, they would invariably ask, so what is that, like computer science? To which I would reply, well, it's basically a bunch of faculty from different disciplines who got together to study really cool stuff. All joking aside, that is very true. I can think of few other places where one could walk into a doctoral program and say, I want to do a joint JD PhD program and not be told, you want to do a professional degree? You can't be a serious researcher. Here, I was not only supported in my efforts to become a guinea pig, but 2 of my advisors had been on the faculty both at Berkeley Law and here at the iSchool. By the way, that former advisor, he was on my committee as well. Last year, my friend Delon gave an excellent speech at Commencement, which is still around on YouTube and worth watching, far more entertaining than me. But I have to disagree with one minor point in it. Delon remarked that a lot of people being interested in a doctoral student's work was like 4 people. And while that may be true of my obnoxiously long-winded dissertation, actually, I only have 3 committee members, not 4, it is certainly not true of my colleagues. Several of them have testified before federal and state legislatures on issues including electronic voting and internet privacy. Others have and are studying how to improve conditions in developing nations through the use of information technology. I imagine the research studying online dating has garnered at least a little bit of interest. And I suspect there's a few parents out there who would love to be able to understand why their kids spend so much time chatting online. These are examples of some of the really cool stuff high school doctoral students do. I could go on about all the great things in South Hall for the next hour. The magnificent intellectual community, the amazing innovation students our master's students produce. But I think that perhaps the most important thing with which I could leave you is this. To the parents, friends, and colleagues who repeatedly ask, so what do you really do here? It's simple. Really cool stuff. Thank you, and to all my fellow graduates, congratulations!